Perspective. Perspective.
Perspective.
Welcome, beautiful people. This is your co-host, Vontae Swank, and you are now tuned in to Perspective Junkies. Welcome back. We are joined with a special guest today, our boy Tommy G. Me and Cody have known Thomas since middle school and elementary, and we've always shared a class as being an advanced placement with him, so he was always another intellectual black man amongst us, and he was a perfect fit for the conversations that we had today. We talked about growing up in Paulding County, aka Pico, where, you know, the white population may have dominated and black people weren't as proud about being from there because it didn't have any type of connotations with it. What it was like growing up in advanced placement classes and the versatility that it required being a black male and still, you know, keeping up a social life. We also talked about the Talented 10. It's a concept by W.E.B. Du Bois. We talked about respectability politics. And lastly, we finished off with investing into the family system and courtship as well. We had to get him on that. So it was definitely an intellectual dive that we took with this conversation. It was a dope conversation, one of my favorites so far. So please give it a good listen, check it out, show us love on all the platforms, and most importantly, enjoy the show.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, you are tuned in for another episode of Perspective Junkies. It's your boy C Swank, aka Codyocrates, aka the man with the plan. I'm joined here by special guest Thomas Gaines. Say a little something about yourself, man.
Yeah, what's happening, folks? My name is Thomas Gaines, better known as TG or Tommy G, man. Appreciate y'all having me on, bro. It's good to be back.
Smooth, man.
I love a good nickname.
Yeah.
TG, Tommy G. Tough. We got. You see, Cody stopped saying Cody's know most because he doesn't know shit. KB knows most. Kenzie Burgess, K Swank, D5 athlete, whatever you want to call me. Highest jumper from Douglasville, Jordan. I'm here.
We got a real hoop legend in the building with us. His legacy is being cemented.
Hey.
Yeah. Kenzie's getting major buckets. He got into a commercial for just playoff commercial. Like,
what? I am.
It's Too Fast and Too Furious.
Yeah, that seals the deal. Too Fast, Too Furious. When you see that commercial,
It's not too fast. It's Fast and Iron.
Fast.
Get it right. I was just playing.
Correct. So when y'all see that, y'all know that Kenzie is one of the guys dunking easy. So
Yeah. Shout out to B-Jack for putting me on, man. Right. As soon as they started recording us, I paused and I looked at the director. I said, "Our faces aren't gonna be in here, is it?" He was like, "Nah, not really."
I was volunteer.
Yeah. Okay.
It's a regular Joe just trying to get it out here.
Nah. Mr. Vontae 2 degrees Swank.
Hey, I like how this sounds.
Hey.
Double down.
Double down.
Okay, we're gonna get right into it. This discussion today, I feel like it's a little bit more academic minded than some of our past discussions, but I'm excited about it. One of the first topics we want to get into is, many people may not know, me, Thomas, and Devontae went to school together all the way from middle school to high school. So, did y'all know each other in elementary? Yeah, they was there earlier, so elementary.
The moment I remember having a book in my class, it was like, he was there.
Right. So from that, I feel I observed in my experience, we were all kind of paired in like advanced classes, and I just noticed that from an early age, I realized like these are the only guys who kind of get it. Or like,
Cody thought he was alone.
It was a lot, but then I was like, I see him like these two dudes kind of they understand something. I felt like it kind of reflected through awards, through leadership positions, even in organizations. I don't know. You was in FBLA, correct? Yeah. Like I would see that. You know, of course, we went to college together. Me and Monte ended up pledging Kappa Outside. He pledged Alpha Alpha. I started seeing like before. Through all of this, that there's some type of correlation with the way that we were behaving, the way we were treated, and the way that we kind of grew into men. So I just kind of want to speak on that. Like, how do you feel like being deemed smart or advanced or gifted impacted you in middle school, high school, your development with friends, girls, etc.? So,
Man, I think initially having that, so I wasn't put into advanced placement until I think it was like my 7th or 8th grade year. And like you start advanced placement in third grade, so it was 5 years before somebody like realized like to select me to be part of that group. And I think once I was selected to be part of that group, it's kind of just another bit of affirmation, like, yo, TG, you're doing what you need to do, bro. Just keep doing what you're doing. And it's going to eventually get you to a place where you want to go, right? Like, at that time, I wasn't real focused on school. Like, I was trying to play baseball at the end of the day. And school was just a way for me to, get my grades done, something to do throughout during the day. So for me to be able to do it well, and then that eventually be what gets me to being the Thomas Gaines I am today, I thank the teachers that I had back then, right, for being able to point that out and notice that in me and then want to develop me a little bit more heavily than the other students that were around. Especially when you think about the young black boys that we went to school with, right? Like, I really believe it was probably just me, Cody, and Vontae were the only 3 in the group that were.
There was one other.
That you play chess with, right?
I'm not gonna say his name. No, not even hit. There's 2. You talking about his name started with a D.
Yeah,
I know you talking about. I ain't gonna put their names out. We'll use aliases. So one was Donnie. He's a short, kind of like almost Urkel like hilarious character.
Hey Donnie, we're talking about you. If you went to Hiram,
One we'll call his name Jovan.
if you. No, I'm
close
about to say don't say Jovan though, because this really is Jovan.
We're just gonna call him out now.
Yeah. But anyway, the difference.
If you went to Hiram, they're talking about you.
What I would realize, I think the difference between those 2 very also intelligent African American guys was, I think they tapped out on the social aspect, or their social intelligence was rather low, and that's why I didn't combine them with us in that group. I already knew, even as a little young kid, I was like, you're not getting it because you're not quite accepted in the male.
You're not cool. Is what you're saying. Just say it, Cody.
Even teachers, to a certain extent, respect the fact that you're smart, but they're kind of like, at times annoyed. Or were
they like assholes? Like always?
No, like one of them I famously remember. Like one of my first times I'm in Target, like I'm in Target Advance, whatever they call it. We had lunch. It's already funny because like my friends is not sitting at the table. The advanced table is noticeably advanced. Like it's mainly people
on the side reading the book.
It's people acting like stereotypical like
nerds.
You know what I'm saying? So we kind of chilling to eat. Now I remember Jovan was having a intense debate about megabytes and gigabytes and which one holds more storage and data. And I remember thinking like
gigabytes hold the most.
I'm like,
more than megabytes.
This is gonna be tough because we're in middle school. And like we're older guys. I'm like that's not even a discussion I want to get into for this long.
That's something you save for the crib. You just don't do that in public.
I already knew like okay.
It was intense.
I feel like the other one, he also, whenever he had a strong point, he did the finger like.
Like he used to talk like
on the contrary.
Yeah, like with that. And
let me paint this picture for those of you that aren't gonna watch. Just really imagine three of the coolest guys at their school, but they just so happen to be the smartest too. So they're around all the nerds. I'm gonna just dumb it down. They surrounded by all the nerds, just being cool, still knowing like can't be too smart every day.
Right. You can't fully because what I've learned that even growing up is that to me is intelligence. The way that you're able to map your environment, the way you're able to move. Okay, we'll put it.
What do the kids say? Not read the room.
Read the room, but not everybody can do that.
Everybody can read the room.
Thomas, he played baseball, so he plays baseball. He already got it's already a closer connection.
And we're in Paulding County, so he's really good.
Yeah, really good.
He's really good.
He playing baseball. He's respected as a top-notch guy in the white community. Like he's the most popular dude in middle school. Also, I would pay attention. He would go hang out with black dudes still, dap up, blah, blah, blah. I knew already, I was like, even if you're doing something funny, because I used to always crack up like, oh, you like white girls for real. Like, you know what I'm saying? But I was like, you're accepted and you're like straight. You know to mend these cultures. You're not just going to stay isolated. Where I would see some guys who would literally, they term Oreo, just completely just straight go the other way, or just straight negatory, just straight associate the most negative aspects of blacks. Like, they like, that's why I am. I'm like, nah, he married it. With Devontae, I would say Devontae wasn't a super athlete, but I saw him try. And I saw him reasonably take notes and adjust his character in the right way. We played football. He didn't do no silly, goofy interactions with the coach. He was just in there, got in, got out. Hey, it's not for me. Got it. He got in, got out, and then he working. He got a little job, got a little gear together. Like he had a. I felt like I saw him growing into a man. Like he was taking notes. Like try that, didn't work. Try that. Like everything that he could have did to maximize. I felt like he was on. I was like, this is what's separating it from certain characters who are not. They don't see the future. They don't understand. Like, hey, I need to be friends with my race, or hey, I need to try to athletics or be somewhat accepted by not only people who are considered highly intellectual. And that's what made them intellectuals to me. I don't necessarily consider a person who is good with computers or good with a car, but can't speak to the opposite sex a genius. I would say you're very skilled in what you do, but you're struggling in like level 1 of human ability to me.
Because you can't be a leader at that point. If you're only book smart or technical smart, you can't be any type of leader.
I love that trend on Twitter when somebody's just being overly smart. Like, nigga, get some bitches.
Yeah.
I love seeing that. I'm like,
that's real.
Right.
That's real. One of the things I admired about Vontae, like growing up, was that Vontae wasn't like a very outspoken and loud person, right? He was very quiet and kind of reserved. But when you talked to him, you knew he was intelligent, right? And you knew this was a smooth ass dude, right? So like, he had the bitches. So
he had that energy as a young man. I took that. But one thing I noticed, or something I've been kind of like a critique of, like I always felt like there was an aspect of anti-intellectualism amongst my own racial group growing up. Like there was always something that I had to maneuver, and I saw it fold or kind of like make a lot of guys kind of downplay their intelligence or the way they move, whereas I think I kind of took it a little head on, because I already kind of liked the Carlton Banks swag. I was rocking college shirts and stuff. Like I was a different type of character, but I'm like
ridiculous.
He was the first person I saw that button a polo all the way up to.
Somebody at Hiram? Because I thought he was just recreating himself when he came to South.
No. I always was rocking with that, but I see dudes who I think they were already not super smart, but they had the probability or the trajectory to be kind of straight. Yeah. But because they were influenced by a belief that you're not supposed to be talking like this, you're not supposed to be moving like this, you're not supposed to be acting like this, it made them kind of like downplay it, and they can't downplay it. You know what I'm saying? You can't be acting like you want to be dumb while also be kind of smart or growing aggressive. You have to be very proud in it.
Yeah.
And even with our white peers in the advanced classes, like there was one other guy who I felt like who was, Blake. He was socially accepted, but he was very intelligent. The rest of them were kind of like eccentric on the, on the outskirts of the middle school. Like it was a little odd, the advanced class. And I think what I realized was like, I don't feel like Blake really hid anything. I don't feel like he had to change much in his it was like he played baseball and it is what it is. Like I'm just me. Whereas I felt like it was a conscious, social maneuvering I was doing in middle school through high school with my friends. I had to kind of explain, this is important. We kind of should be moving like that. Even, I felt like I used to almost get treated like, oh, goody two shoes. So I'm like, stop laughing in the back while the teacher's or you know what I'm saying? Yo, stop laughing while the teacher's
Cody's the kid saying, you forgot to take the homework.
I wasn't that deep, but I was a little bit to a certain extent. So I just that was my feeling. What was it like for y'all?
So I have a question on that. What made you make that conscious effort to maneuver in a way that's accepted by both sides? I can tell you what mine was, and it's not a good thing. But when you got to middle school, what made you want to be I need to be accepted by both sides, and here's what I'm going to do it?
I look at it as I knew. I can put it in words now, but I quite didn't understand as a kid. But I know now, this education can't save me from the real life reality of individuals I gotta see every day in the locker room and on the bus.
Yeah.
It can't change. It can't save me from the fact that these girls, the girls I like, one of them has to like me back. I gotta figure that out. Yeah. My brains, me reading, being good at basketball, none of that can save me from this. And I also realized that those other skills can't save the fact that one day I see men with suits on, and I don't know why, but I admire it and I respect it. I now know what it meant, when I look back at I like power and responsibility in men. I never looked at that as something that I can avoid or to get around, whereas I see other dudes look, I'm no, I think this is what a man is. I associate it with manhood. One day I'll be the man that wears suits hard bottoms, and gives rules.
Right.
And I never, if you know you're going towards that, if you thought you're supposed to be toward that way, then you look at this as these are what I have to do to be that. Whereas I don't know if that's as common. I think it was, now looking back, I'm like, oh, maybe not everybody wanted to be the guy in the suit. You know what I'm saying? I looked at it as like, this is the only option, right? Once you get smart, you get educated, you go to college, you become the man in the suit, right? Like, you know what I'm saying? So I think that's a little part of me that made me navigate both sides.
And it's funny that you connected your childhood to what you wanted to be in the future, right? You saw that you were an intelligent person, and you saw people in suits, and you think they're intelligent too. You're like, this is what I do as a kid. As an intelligent kid, I gotta go be a man in a suit. What about you, Vontae? I know that you were very intentional about it in middle school, so I'll get my story afterwards.
I mean, I also feel like this is the power that being in those classes gave us. Is you know, some people may think it's bad, but we kind of have the code switch where we know how to communicate with different type of people. Like we were, you know, every day kicking it with people that, you know, when we left the classroom, the people that we kicking it with would look at them like, oh, they some nerds. Like I was just thinking about, you remember Logan?
I remember Logan.
He was so good there. That was my dude. He was so cool. He was cool.
He used to run to the chicken.
Everybody like, who is this running? Like, what the fuck? I'm like, if you know him, you would know why he's doing all these things. Right. It's like, but even that, like, I just really enjoy seeing the different layers of people that you normally wouldn't have time to, or you normally wouldn't even be in the same vicinity with. So, like, that's why I really appreciated. I feel like just how you were saying, like, I couldn't let go of who I was going to be kicking it with when I left these classes, because I know that's going to put me in a different spot, but being able to communicate with the people in my classes, I knew it was going to benefit me in the long run, because these are people who are going to be empowered. Like, just how they were always saying, like, yeah, the nerds, they're going to have a job. They're going to be the CEO later. You know what I'm saying? So, like, being able to have a real intellectual conversation, or even just be casual with somebody who may be on that next level of thinking, it pushes you in the right direction, in my opinion.
Yeah. I feel that too. Like having those conversations and realizing the need to have those conversations is definitely one thing. I think for me, it was understanding that my classroom was a microcosm of what I was going to experience in the real world in the future, right? And in elementary school, I didn't think I was well accepted. So if I'm not being well accepted here with all these people, what changes do I have to make going into the next grade level, going into the next school, that will allow me to be accepted, will allow me to blossom into the Thomas that I need to be, right? To be that man in the suit, to go to college and be a popular dude on campus, right? Because like my dad wasn't that, my mom was that, but my dad wasn't. So like I kind of feel like I had a little bit of a mix between the two, right? I had the intelligent side, right, but then I also had the cool side to be able to communicate with everybody and fit in a little bit. So I think that's where I go with it, bro. Is understanding that you have a future that's ahead of you, right? And you understand what you have right here now is a microcosm of what you're going to be experiencing in the future. So you got to be able to use your discretion to maneuver well enough, right?
And before we go to the second topic, you had said, I felt like it wasn't as positive a reason. Why did you conclude that that's not a positive reason for the way you behave?
Oh, because I was made fun of in elementary school. That's why I say it wasn't positive for me. Because it was definitely a little dark time. Like first through probably like third grade, it was a little dark for me. Because I was like, man, I was a little weird dude, a little short, a little fat, chubby kid. And it's like, that's not, I didn't feel good about myself, right? But I guess I see what you're saying, right? It eventually turned into a positive because I used those negative circumstances to mold me into the person I am.
I'll also add too that like being in those advanced classes allowed me to be the one answering all the questions. Like it'll be like a certain point where I'm in the regular class and I'm like, I ain't gonna even answer this one.
I go file
right. Because it's like everyone like, it's Vontae in because he knows. Like, when you get to advanced class, he's like, I'm trying to beat this. You know what I'm saying? I'm trying to actually compete and push my brain. Like
the thing about what you said, bro, is that when you get in the regular class and then you're always the one answering questions, I think that has a different outcome that we don't think about sometimes. It's we're downgrading the education of the people around us at some point because we're not giving them the opportunity, or we're saying that I got this, bro. Y'all don't even need to worry. Yeah. I'll take this class. I'll answer all the questions. I'll raise my hand. I'll take all the notes, right? But in reality, there's other people there. There's 30 other students in the classroom that got to learn something, right? We already know it, but there's other people that do. So, it could be a good and a bad thing, right? When you split people out like that, it was good for us, but it was bad for some people. So.
Yeah. And then it also, I feel like just how you were saying, like it makes them not even want to try.
Yeah.
So I definitely think that's kind of pivotal in picking out who's advanced and who's not, just to making sure they're amongst their level. Like, even though it can benefit them to be around people who are above them so they can try to rise to the occasion, I think education, it kind of needs people to be on similar levels when they're in the same class.
I think I'm conflicted to a certain degree because I believe we only do that in the African American community with education. I feel like in different areas we don't even believe it doesn't align with our principles. In sports, best man dominate. Everybody else who wants to win, come play, come practice. Nobody says, "Hey, this guy's just so nice, he's so tight, I don't know." You know what I'm saying? Like it creates an energy we should all rise to him. I think with we can say something that's more materialistic, clothes, for example. There's clearly a dude who's swaggier. We never really want him to decrease the swag. It encourages everybody to become more swaggy. I think only with education, which is odd, it's unique to me. From what I read and what I research, I don't believe it necessarily even a black thing as so much as your financial thing, like a poor thing, and then it becomes like if you stay in a financial situation for long enough, it can become part of your culture. So for us, I think it becomes we don't push that as something that everybody should strive for. So it's even double discouraging if there's already a disparity between one individual and the other. And I think even as smart people, like we were the small group that I think connects social and intelligence, where I think the majority of them, they get killed. They end up being on the outskirts and don't even liking their own race because of what happens between 0 to age 18. That's why I talk loudly. I'm like, you got to get to the point where people who not smart got to feel uncomfortable around us, and then the group does better. You don't push it like, hey, these guys, the guys who really can help your community. This is the dude that's gonna do the computer, do the architecture, do the math. He's feeling kind of weird. He walking around can't do his book bag, his tail tucked, and these dudes who they gonna ruin the community. They ain't helping nothing. They ain't paying the bill. This is the group. I'm like,
Cody say these niggas are gonna ruin our lives
because no one wants to say. I'm like, bro, realistically, I don't know other people's observation. From us in high school and middle school, I would say less than 10% of people were surprises.
Yeah.
A lot of the AKs that came from Hiram Southpaw, and this girl was making good grades, and she kind of seemed like a leader. It makes sense. A lot of the people that end up being in good corporate jobs who are African American, I know, I'm like,
we know. Yeah, we know.
In 10th grade, he looked like the guy that would go on to become the real estate, guy or the lawyer or whatever. I don't have too many people. I'm like, oh man, you surprised? I couldn't see that. I thought you was a bad kid, and now I'm glad you own your own firm.
Yeah.
No, you were exactly like you was wilding. You was doing. I'm like, even people I played sports with. I'm like, I knew. I looked to the left and right. I could look. I remember distinctly one time we was on the bench. I don't know, junior, senior year. It was probably also because I was already feeling the type of way. We came back to school.
Talking about at South?
No, I was in Hiram.
You said junior, senior year,
He
though.
was feeling the type of way because he wasn't playing.
That's something different.
Cody.
I remember coming. Literally, I'm coming, and I'm like chopping it up with my teammates. He had done some PSAT or something like that. This year, Devontae's coming back with a whip. He working. I'm like, this man's really getting it. Like something seems right. And I just remember looking at him bench. I'm like, y'all niggas is not that right. Like I remember thinking, I'm like, should I really be like?
You know what?
Be like focusing on my college.
And that's just the thing that comes with versatility. Because in college, when I played basketball, like the best player is struggling in class. Like he's struggling on the easy shit. I'm like, damn, bro, what you gonna do when we stop hooping? And niggas be stuck.
Now you're right though. That versatility thing is definitely different because you blend in with people in different crowds, right?
Yeah.
And every crowd doesn't have
the same top dogs. Yeah.
They don't have the talent.
I feel like I'm top 5 in everything.
Right,
That's
and that's something that's deep. Just like you said, every crowd looks for something different. I realized that through talking to different cultures. You talk in middle school to a group that we don't care nothing about sneakers or basketball skill. You must create your popularity or your social status through a different type of. I'm like, oh my gosh, like what makes this guy top dog? Y'all don't respect. Like y'all don't care about. You even I'll say this as a man, like all of a sudden I want to build and stuff like that because I speak. You speak to Hispanic men, to white men, to people who come from different stuff, and they like really look at you like, oh, you don't know nothing about no car.
Yeah, and it gets humiliating. Yeah, it's embarrassing.
You don't know how to fix build a little something. Do something. I'm like, damn.
Yeah, if
like, I'm truly not competent in areas. I think these are reasonable things to learn. Like I probably should learn how to, do a little fencing or something like that. And this type of stuff gives me like, fencing. Oh man, like that's deep. You know what I'm saying? Like that's deep. That
facts,
you wouldn't get that if you only grew in one code. If you only ride with the basketball team, you could truly believe, man, you become a good man by the ability to hold your own. Individuality, which is expressed through gear, like a little bit of swagger in the way you dress, and basketball skill. You're not really thinking about, investing in stock. Ain't nobody talking in the locker room, one day you got to get in real estate, you got to get buy some property. Like that type of stuff doesn't come up. Like, but I want to lead to this second thing. This is something that's introduced by Thomas, the talented 10th. It's an idea introduced by W.E. Du Bois. I'll let you kind of explain like a little bit of what it is, what it means to people who might have not heard about that.
Yeah, so the talented 10th, I'm a big fan of W.E. Du Bois. That's what I do. And the talented 10th, a lot of people have issues with it. But the basic premise of it is you take the hood, you take all the kids in your hood, and you test them, right, over a period of time, whether that's an intellectual test or physical test. And you take the top 10% of your 100 kids that you say you have in your hood, and you develop these 10 students, these 10 kids at a higher rate and a higher status than everybody else. The goal is to throw all your resources towards these 10 people and let them go off, get educated, and experience life, come back to the hood.
And educate everybody
else to bring the hood up. Right. Where the talented 10 falls apart is that you put all these resources into these 10 kids, they go out, they go to different countries, they go overseas, right? And they're experiencing all these different things. They don't want to go back to the hood where I gotta pay money to wash my clothes. They don't want to go back to the hood where I'm sleeping on mama auntie couch, right? That's where it falls apart because they have all these experiences and then they leave the rest of the folks.
Yeah, why would you want to come back?
Why would you want to do that?
And I paired this with what you saying?
Now, I was about to say, I brought it up because Cody mentioned us being a select group of black men within our peer group, right? Us being a venture. The talented 10th is basically what venture or target or advanced placement was for us in elementary, middle, and high school, right? Mm-hmm. You take your people who have high caliber to succeed, right? And you develop them at a higher rate. Now, at the same time, I said this to Devontae, I think, some people got left behind because, venture, we did get a better education than everybody else. Our teachers were better. Our class sizes were smaller. So we had more face time with our teachers, but everybody else got left behind, just like with the talented 10th. You focus on a core group of people, and we're doing well, but what about, we graduated, 1,400 or like 700 people or something like that, right? We got 2 people right here from Hiram that are doing well. What's with the other 700?
And people, and that's big in conflict with people's idea that they're so against elitism or favoring of a select group in favor of the masses. But in my observation, I'll let Vontae respond to this. I haven't observed, and this is in college amongst blacks, whites, old, young, all that, women, men, etc. I've never observed a group of equally talented, equally responsible, equally intelligent people that exceeded more than 5. If it gets to 10, if it gets to 20, there will eventually be a woman who rises out of this group, and she is clearly the strongest, smartest, most competent woman who should. And if they put everything on her, they're going to win.
Yeah,
they're going to win, and she will put people and help others. Yeah. But if they don't, if they decide to keep it equal, they're going to lose just because they don't have a good head runner. This woman is who should be the top cheer captain, the leader of the Black Women Organization, all that. She's supposed to be in a different position. I think the same with men, and I say that even with us, to me, I felt kind of like that message of the talented 10th later, around 18th, somewhere around college. I'm like, it's my responsibility to power through the doubts or the criticism, even of my own race, because I'm like, not everybody can even see some of the things I see. So it's like, if I go to school and everybody was, oh man, he dorky, oh man, he's corny, or, he's always trying to push this, I'm just trying to have fun. That's what you're supposed to do, because maybe you don't have the vision or the ability to see this.
You're supposed to be a follower.
Exactly. You might not even get this until you're 35. Yeah. What if I just so happen I'm not even getting weird information or abnormally genius information? I just understand or can accept what a lot of men may get at age 35. I understood that. Boom. 20, 21. I'm like, I get it. I get why we got to dress like that. I get why we got to get more serious. I get why we got to get a wife. It might take another man 15 years of he got to learn the hard way. Mm-hmm. He got to have 4 girlfriends cheat. He got to have a couple of jobs that fall through. he got to smoke weed, and then the kids get in a bad, trajectory seeing him, and he's like, now I see why maybe I shouldn't have been doing certain behaviors around children. Mm-hmm. He has to learn through crushing blows to his life and those around him, and then he's able to teach. Whereas I think the talented 10, man, woman, young, old, different race, they kind of get it ahead of the game. At age 15, when the teachers come in and talk and say, what's your 5-year plan? Me, Tom, and Zavante went home like, what's my 5-year plan? There's some dudes who went home and they texted their girlfriend. Bro. They just went to play 2K. They went. I'm like, and I don't think you're wrong for that. I think it's wrong for the talented 10 to even consider the idea like, I don't want to do all that, man. I ain't trying to help these niggas. Like, I'm just gonna have fun. I'm gonna go on trips on my stuff. I get my little job. I'm like, You got to carry the load for some people who cannot do this. They could not do it because they just don't have the mindset to see the world in that way. Or you know what I'm saying?
The point.
But what are you saying? What are you saying about tech?
I feel like an important aspect of that talented 10 concept is being connected socially, because I feel like just having a solid friend group back in Paulding is a reason for me to like, all right, let me stay in touch type of thing, because for those who didn't really enjoy their high school experience or they didn't have pride in any of it, then that's when you go out and you don't come back. You know what I'm saying? So
Vontae tried to do that. He tried to run off to Georgia State. We'll talk about that another day.
Georgia State was the close option. You know what I'm saying? Like, imagine if I didn't have a solid friend group, I might would have went to like Florida school or something. You know what I'm saying? I could have went cross country or something, and it could have pushed me further, but I wouldn't have the connection to my hometown as much as I do now. Yeah. So I feel like the social aspect is what kind of ties it back in. Or even how you were saying, like in the hood, people have more pride about where they're from. Like certain people are not really like, I'm from Harlem, I went to Harlem. Like it's not as much of esteem when you say that. So,
and the reason being that to me is deep.
Yeah.
That's something that I combat in every move that comes. I'm like, are you proud? Would you be more proud if we had a couple more drive-by shootings? It's deep. Think about it. You would be slightly more proud of the area if we had a couple more drive-by shootings, a couple more fights, maybe a couple of girls get on some whips and start shaking ass. Then you'd be like, my city lit. But if it just so happen that we have a city full of people who
are successful,
go to school, and come back and they got a good little area and there's not that much trouble, you like, man, I ain't trying to be no lame.
That's exactly what it is, bro.
We got 30 outlets. They bring in houses here that's definitely more affordable. The environment is good for you and your kids and your wife.
Safe.
And you cannot make the wise decision if you just looking at it like, bro, I just want to be somewhere where people have respect or clout associated with. I'm like, and that's deep. That's not every culture don't move like that. That's not every group that's like, we got certain people. They don't even look at that as something like. I've never heard a white boy like, South Georgia. You already know.
Don't say South Georgia a bit. You can't say just South Georgia though.
You never heard a white man like it's just they just like I'm from. They say the city like I'm from Little Park, Iowa. Like
I'm from Akron.
Yeah, they just say the city. And it's if you know it, you know it. If you don't, you don't. I'm like you should find pride in the man or the person you are, the respectability of your and even y'all see in college, me and kids, we talk about this all the time, bro. Like you come from Paulding County, and you even in sports, dudes who come from just the city and think that they good. I'm like, yo, you're not nice. Like you wouldn't even start it. You literally believe because we ain't got as much highlight tapes out. That y'all have a different level of talent. I'm like, you could not come to our open gym and dominate.
That's why, always shout out to Kane because I love what he's doing for Georgia State. That's Douglasville. That's Paulding.
I think that's the thing, right? If you don't see anything good, and if you don't see any good products coming out of where you live, then you're not going to have pride. Right? And I feel like that's the thing that you're trying to change, Cody. Like by moving.
You got to become that good product at your city.
Because if I don't see anything good coming out of Paulding County, I'm not going to tell people I'm from Paulding County. Well, I went to school in North Carolina, right? I went to North Carolina Central University. Shout out Eagle Pride, you feel me? But like,
like a chicken,
you good. But like going to school, when people ask where I'm from, like I'm from Atlanta. I'm from right outside of Atlanta.
He wasn't out Atlanta, dude.
And I would say Atlanta, right?
Okay.
Right? I would say Atlanta, right? But not know
Tommy G.
Nobody knows what Paulding County is. Nobody knows.
That's true. But I know for a fact The one thing that really kept me from saying it, because at East Georgia, everybody, I knew it was a lot of people locally at that school. And niggas that were really from Atlanta hearing that were going, hey, like, you from where?
Oh, yeah.
What? Huh? I was like, I'm from Douglasville, Georgia, bro. We buy Six Flags. That's all I used to say. Like, we right by Six Flags. Y'all got Six Flags? We buy Six Flags.
That's the thing. I had the advantage because, like, nobody from Atlanta, so I was able to say I'm from Atlanta. You feel me? But I think bringing it back to having pride in where you're coming from, like, I think I saw it on his IG at one point, Cody's IG. Like, you said you were from Pico. I was like, oh, Pico, Paulding County? Shit kind of lit.
Yeah, that sounds
like,
nice.
Giving something a nickname, like, gives me a little bit.
But I ain't gonna lie, I don't ever say. I don't say Paulding. I'm like, I went to school in Paulding County. I'm from Douglasville though.
Yeah.
Douglasville.
Because I understand a lot of people they associate it with like pure racism. And I'm like, to me personally, I feel like, and I agree, we definitely had some. Cause we closer to the birds, definitely more conservative. Definitely had some moments. I'm like, it's racial tension.
Yeah.
I don't believe in. I'm not capping or downplaying or being dishonest about anything in my past. I'm like, I have to be real about my observations. I saw clear signs of racism when I grew up. I also saw clear signs of love and admiration from whites.
100%.
Like, some of it perhaps more loyal
The
at
boys
times in my
paint your number at your game, yelling your name out. They will praise you. That's why I can't even.
I mean, showing love. They have you. They'll bring you to the sleep. Have a sleepover around your around their family and just chilling. Like, yeah, do whatever you want. Like, it's just the energy has been too open with certain members of that race for me to come out here and be like, yeah, the whole city was just lame, bro.
Agreed.
No, that wouldn't reflect my actual behavior at school. I was cool with people. I would consider Lake was a very close friend growing up. You know what I'm saying? Like all these peers that I had, I'm like, I'm not turning my back on y'all just because it has now become popular to demote there. And I don't feel comfortable. I even say as a black man, I'm like, yo, I'm not going around just calling disses and stuff like that to white people just because it's like popular now.
Yeah.
If it don't sound right, if it's something that I feel uncomfortable saying, I'm not saying that. People would just be like, oh yeah, white woman is ugly. Like, I'm like, what does that even have to do with the process? and if you don't agree, we know where you stand.
But hey, I'm glad Cody said that like, today is June 19th. Juneteenth.
No. I love myself. I'm glad. I love it, but I'm like, bro, I'm not getting. I wouldn't.
So you're saying you're dealing with white women?
No. I'm just saying I personally wouldn't get disrespectful or say anything like directly offensive to anybody's. I'm like, I can understand, for example, if we were getting called to champion or defend African American women, it to me is a direct slap in the face of the male counterparts of other races for us to be like, your women are ugly. You are lame. What they supposed to say? They're supposed to be like, oh, well, we did this slave, y'all. They gonna be like, what? They gonna be like, our women. They gonna say our women are beautiful. You know what I'm saying? I think we fly. Like,
Cody,
that's just the obvious human reaction to things.
You acting up for Juneteenth, man.
Hey, I'm off that moonshine.
Hey, let's just step to the side real quick. Cody has us drinking butter pecan moonshine.
Butter pecan.
And I'm really feeling it.
Some camera time.
I'm really feeling it. Yeah. No, I finished mine.
Y'all take a little bit of that right now.
Look.
Y'all take that right there. That's gonna have you dancing.
I'm trying to fit in. I hurry up and finish mine because I thought y'all was done.
I finished mine.
Okay, I'm like.
If you drink some of this and then you play Justin Bieber Peaches, that's a damn good song. It's just goes for a different level when you're under the.
Look, they really watching That's some Pico shit right there. Oh God, that's some Paulding shit right there.
It is some Pico shit. Yes.
All right, go.
A little bit. I might have to get the last.
I have like two interesting inferences though.
Hey, pull that other camera over.
Cause boy, I am feeling that. Right. Put the cap back on.
Did y'all know that Hiram has more black students now? Like,
yeah.
It's dominant.
No, that's all of Paulding. Cause South Paulding's the same way, and that shit is sounding crazy. To me. All of Paulding County is getting blacker.
Cause I mean, bro, you look at where you live, right? Look at the city. You think about where the Mercedes-Benz was at, like, it's the outcome of gentrification at the end of the day. Like, I know we keep talking about gentrification, we keep talking about black people leaving the city and everything, but that's the aftermath of it. Like, when we were at Hiram, when we grew up in Paulding County, it was probably a solid 70-30, like 70 white, 30%
Put this on that.
Now it's more so 50-50 or more 60-40, 60% black. And that's because, people get pushed out. You gotta go somewhere affordable. Like you said, Paulding's affordable, it's a decent area.
My only issue with Paulding County growing in blacks, they still not it's not true. Like, it was a group of black kids at South Paulding High School that were just acting like stereotypical Medea, happy family, black.
Let's talk about it, kid.
And that used to make me so uncomfortable, bro. Because at South Paulding, I'm like, I am black. I'm very comfortable. Like, I came from an all black school to even come to Paulding County. But it used to make me sick. It was like 10 of them that's just doing stereotypical dumb shit. I'm like, bro, we don't even act like that for real, bro. That's just TV show shit. Like, what are you doing, bro?
There was a girl at South. I ain't gonna put the names out there, but the energy was confrontational, like a loud confrontational black woman. I'm like, look, I be around black women. I'm like,
they don't act like that.
I'm like, first of all, they don't all act like that, but you don't have the character, and I don't think you have the hands.
Yeah, it can't be that.
You wouldn't be that at a real black school. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm carrying the same character I move at a white school.
At any school I go to, I'm the same.
With the whites, and then when the black comes and they slap me upside the head. I'm like, the exact same. This girl, I'm like, you are not allowed to be going in no.
Yeah, you're not like that for real.
You couldn't go to no black club. You could not go around.
And that's what it was. It was a small group. South Paulding was so white. It was a small group of people that were exactly like that. And I'm just looking at them. I'm like, I know how long you've been in Paulding County. You never experienced the all black school.
Exactly.
This is just the act right now. Like, why y'all doing this?
I'm like, we can invite you to a party.
Yeah, I'm like,
bring you to the side. Like, I want to see you dap up and hug and kick it with some other black people.
What's interesting though is a lot of the people who are like, I ain't really from Paulding County. They just came. They still there and they didn't go back. I was like, wait. I figured a lot of the people who was like, yeah, I'm really from East Side Atlanta. But I just came out here because my mom, you know what I'm saying? And then they just stayed after graduation. I'm like, so you're really from here.
Right. And what do you guys conclude from that? What is that? What do you think that means? What do they value? What is it that they're the message they're trying to send when they say, I'm from this area, even though we know you lived at least 6 years where we from? Why are you downplaying that? What is the reason that y'all think?
It's not good enough. We don't have the clout. That's what
it's just pure clout. We just need one of y'all rappers blow up. We'll be straight. We need Kane go to the league. John Gennard in the league.
I need you to win an MVP or Defensive Player of the Year, and then Pico be put on the map.
But I still can't even say that because Jay Crowder from Villa Rica, they don't show enough love. They don't even emphasize that. Now, I will go hard about that. It's Carroll County, but still, he don't even get no, like, Villa Rica don't get no clout like that. That's tough. If Kane go to the league,
Kane.
I don't care if you're from Florida. I'm like, you from Douglasville, huh? From Douglasville.
You gotta start that AAU team that really puts on. But okay, we're getting to this third aspect of it to say.
Yeah, that's a good transition. Like having people who like act like stereotypical black people, right, on the far end of the spectrum. That's a good segue into what we're talking about.
100%. Respectability politics. Respectability politics. First, we're gonna have our info guy. He kind of read a little definition of what
I got demoted to info guy.
The question would be for everybody: do you feel like this is good or bad? Do you feel like it's something that we have to enforce, or do you feel like it's kind of just what would be the word for it? Arbitrary, something that people just do because of their personal opinion of what a good or bad man is. What is your thoughts on that?
Okay, trap question.
This is what website is this? NPS.gov. Respectability is a set of social guidelines dictating acceptable behavior, from clothing to the way someone interacts with those around them. Respectability politics refers to the way that people attempting to make social change present their demands in a way that are acceptable to the dominant standards in their society.
I think that's a really good definition of it.
We need an example, or?
You guys want an example?
Give an example. Yeah, Thomas a good example.
So,
Tommy G.
In 1921 at Harvard, there was a black man who was not allowed to room in one of the dorms. The president of Harvard University, or University of Harvard, whatever it is, he said he made this dorm like white only. He prevented black students from coming into the dorm. So this black dude at Harvard, he wrote this letter to the dean talking about the things that black people had to do to get into Harvard, the way we dress, the way we speak, and our mental capacity. And those things made it good enough for these black students to be now allowed into the dormitories with the other white students. What that is, like, that man, he painted a picture of this respectable black man that allowed us to have rights and privileges that we did not have beforehand. That's basically what respectability and respectability politics is. You take a narrative or a particular group or microcosm or like small subsection of a group, paint them in high regard to allow them to have rights that they didn't have before.
That's a great explanation as to why people will be like, "Oh, he's just doing it for a white man."
That's exactly why.
Because he derives directly from. I'm like, that's a good argument point for the other side. What you think about that?
I think it makes sense, but it's always kind of bad when another outside race tries to define what's acceptable for another race. You know what I'm saying? So I understand, like, if we had all came together as like a black coalition and was like, this is what we're gonna deem as respectable, then it would be more accepted, or more, I would be more willing to abide by it than as if a white man came in and was like, this is how y'all gotta be to get over here. You know what I'm saying? So
I think that there's definitely a detriment when other races try to define it, right? But it's also a detriment when we as ourselves as a race try to define respectability for our own race. Like, if we look right here and say, this is what a respectable black man look like, that cancels out my brother, that cancels out half my cousins, that cancels out a lot of people, you know, because they don't look like we do. They didn't go to college, you know, they didn't play sports in college, you know. So it singles out a subsection of the group, but then it also doesn't provide rights to people who still deserve them at that point in time. Let me think. I'm thinking about, I read something on like the Dreamers. You know, the Dreamers are people who are immigrants who come from other countries, right? And they're allowed to stay in the country and live just because they came over as kids, right? So people try to paint the picture of Dreamers generally as people in cap and gowns, right? People who get degrees, good citizens, good working citizens. But at the end of the day, some Dreamers aren't going to college every day. Some Dreamers aren't CEOs of Fortune 500 companies. They're working on a farm. They are working in a restaurant trying to help grandma and papa pay the rent at the end of the day, right? So we can have these high performing people in groups, but realize you also have low performing people in groups. And just because these high performers have these rights doesn't mean that the low performers shouldn't be able to have the same rights as well. Like, when you single out people in groups, you divide the group more than it was before. Straight like that.
Kenzie?
Hey, you gonna make me follow that up? Chill. Yeah, I agree with what Vontae is saying. It's hard to want to respect that if somebody outside of your race is trying to paint that picture and give you an example of how you should be, and they're not even you, and they can't be you. I just, like he said, I do feel like we should come together as a group and we paint the picture of what we think a respectable black man, respectable black person, or a respectable person of color should be. But in the grand scheme of things, like just getting on with life, like what we said, with the versatility we have, this right here, this definition is something we've always been using. Like, I've been that example. I've been the face of something. Like my East Georgia basketball team, we had a lot of talented players that could go score 30. I wasn't one of the dudes that could go score 30, but when it came to speaking out to the public or giving a speech or like just speaking to the higher ups, or the president of the school, our coach will always pick me. Yeah. And I'm literally the only person on that team that like graduated. So it was.
and the thing I have about it, I'm in contrast to what everybody's saying, because I really believe when you relegate or when you limit the amount of people that can critique or give commentary on what you're doing to only members of the group, you already have denied yourself like ultimate wisdom, ultimate knowledge, because other people can give you more information than just your group. I don't think how could a white man or Hispanic man or Indian man or African man who lives by us, go to school with us, chill with us, how would he not be able to observe accurately what the issue may be? Especially people who have a little bit of melanin. I'm like, Hispanic people, their advice should be A1. It should be solid, because they come in and they're dealing with some things that arguably they could make a case is more challenging. The ability to get legal and things of that nature, but they're still doing well, create little cities and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. We have to look at that like, what is going on? What is the hole in our group that is not allowing certain levels of progression? And we can't, and I think we're getting into a period where we're so sensitive to offending or excluding a group because they don't meet a certain standard, that we're willing to change the standards to include all. And the L of that is that the standards are weak. Word. Nobody, and another thing I would separate is there has to be a separation of respectability politics. I think it is wrong in the first situation because it was wrong that he had to appease a white man just to get living conditions or a living spot in the campus that he paying for, he already on. However, I can't say what they had to do that made them better people. If we went to go look on, I bet you the man probably had income. He probably had a good little job, made money for his wife and his grandma and his kids, which taken care of. What we have to factor in is, yes, some people are going to get it. They're going to be exclusionary to the rule. However, I wouldn't mind getting on the stage and saying, yeah, if y'all act like Devontae and Thomas, 80% of the time you're going to be straight. 20% something weird is going to happen. Suffering occurs, period. Nothing can guarantee you're going to be perfect. But you go to school, say yes sir, no sir, and you dress a certain type of way. Everything old grandmas and grandpas are saying, if you do this, you're gonna be straight. I've even heard people say, and you can say something that I've heard this. Some good thinkers were saying this. They say that I've heard on Twitter like, oh, HBCUs actually promote respectability politics, or they actually promote behaving in a certain way to get to success. And I say, and then some people were kind of acting like that's a negative. But I say, you should take that as the deepest message of why that is the way it should be. In a school where all black people are here, a lot of people have struggle. A lot of people come for some money. A lot of people are straight. We all know similar music. We got different links. We got blase. Because there is no white people, no other people to kind of diversify it, we all can't use the same excuse. You can't just be, man, I'm a black man. You looking around, it's 80 dudes in here like, yeah, like, what's up? Like, you have to literally create your character and your standing through behavior, showing up on time, studying, hitting the books, doing all the things that anybody can tell you is the right thing to do. It's just that at an HBCU, when it's nothing but black people, it's pushing you in what people consider becoming a better person. It's ultimately old school, show up early, do what you have to do, network. And people they want the pride in HBCUs without accepting what is really some of their standing principles. I read a book, I don't know if it was W.E. Du Bois or if it was Booker T. I think it might have been, it was W.E. Du Bois helped founding Hampton or...
Booker T.
Yeah. He speak on how originally it was just skills, like you need common skills. And one of the things he said was that no man can deny you access to a community if you have a skill that is valuable.
Facts.
And people would take that as like, they keep saying this thing, why do I have to show you my value for you to respect me?
Versatility.
It doesn't matter what you feel I should be, right? That's something in a hypothetical utopian type of world. In reality, people have prejudices. The only way we could fix this prejudice is if over consistent amounts of time we show them that ain't right.
Yeah.
But if you're going to keep it kind of right, and we don't have no African Americans to say, hey, listen, we ain't doing nothing right until we can say stop mimicking gangs. Or we can't do nothing right if we can't say, hey, stop tripping in class, man. Y'all, we riding behind the teacher unless we feel explicitly the teacher did something out of pocket. Yeah. I'm not coming from my daughter or son with the idea, are you being racist? First, show me what it was. Was he talking? Was he acting up? And then if I really think you being racist, okay, now it's time to go. To even have that mindset puts people back. Yeah. It puts your whole group back. Because I don't see that reflected in any other group. That's something that we're kind of developing an idea that we can get to the top without certain levels of putting in the time, putting in the work. And I don't think it aligns with anything. So even with what you said, rights, I would say nowadays, respectability politics is not for rights. It's for the status that people want.
Yeah.
People want to be known. I've seen people that want to be known as like ambitious businessmen, but they don't like suits. They've seen one or two dudes who got into a clothing brand and they just rocking casual gear. They think they're going to go that way. I'm like, but it was 100 other dudes that had to rock a button up and a tie to the meeting. You're trying to duck that. And that's the reason why there's women who think, oh, I can be shaking ass in a thong and the businesswoman of the world will still accept me as a businesswoman.
That's the thing about millennials.
No, I feel like you gotta have a sacrifice.
That's the thing. We always try to break the mold as millennials. I feel like we try to break the mold, but in reality, like our parents taught us, bro, you stick to these certain principles and you're gonna be straight. You stick to these certain principles and you're gonna be straight. You follow these guiding principles and your life is gonna work out just fine. You might not be perfect. Everything might not be great for you, but you're gonna be alright. I think Cody, you made a good point, and I think we should listen to people part of different racial groups that define us what is respectable or not. I think they can give us some general advice, right? I think we can accept general advice, but you shouldn't be able to point out things that are specific towards my race that you can call respectable, right? For example, we can talk about hair, like having nobody here got long hair.
It's like a crazy thing that we all got.
We need Harlem there, because I give Harlem that argument like dreadlocks is like that's the natural black man. I'm like, I guess grow up. I was just like,
I think before you even get to me personally, I have two things on that. I believe there's a different culture in between American blacks and people of African American descent in different areas. And based on your culture is what creates the rules of what is respectable. I'm telling you, it's older. I'm coming from the South. Older black folks don't fuck with twists and dreads like that. We ain't talking about different races. Like, there's older black folk. That's not even that ain't the same in our group. You are considered you already know, you're sending a message. I'm a different type of man. I'm either holistic, I like little natural cures, or I'm probably closer to the streets. That's what older people in the black community know that. Black people who don't hang with black people that much know that. It's a sign. I'm sending a message here. I'm on a different wave, like straight up. Like I don't have to deny it. I don't have to say, oh, I think that's wrong. But I tell my friends, I've even had to talk with Harlem. I don't believe in doing nothing that's gonna make it harder to your money right. If you $100,000 and you want to get dreads. If we all doing job applications and hey, I need this, I'm penny pinching, cut the hair off and throw that suit on and get that.
It sound like somebody died.
Don't do nothing that's gonna mess you up. Don't be getting no neck tats, nothing. Hey, wait till your money is tight, and then you can try whatever you want. Because when your money up, nobody's stopping you if your money's up.
Because at the end of the day, it's do what you need to do to get into the door, and then you can bring your whole self.
And then you can do whatever you want to do. Like who cares?
Get into the door. Then
Millennials are promoting individuality, and they want everybody to be able to express themselves in different ways and still win in life. So I think I appreciate that, but I also do recognize that if we're going to promote people to win amongst everyone, then we have to be real about what the standard is going to be.
All right, and the thing is, also I teach. I've learned. Jordan B. Peterson said this, and I think this is the perfect way to put it.
That man owes you some money.
He owes me some money. There's endless opportunities or endless options on how to live and move, but there's a limited amount that is going to create success between you, your peers, and your social group. Then we can even talk about like your sexual, the way you move in a sexual, your sexual relationship with people. You can have sex with many women, as many as you want, no ties. You can be dishonest about your intentions, etc., etc. However, you will see over the course of time, more lying, too much sexual interaction with too many women will lead to you might get in dangerous situations. You might be confronted by the men that also hang with this woman. B, you will likely use money and resources and time that could be put towards bettering your financial situation to do it. If you do it for a long enough time, unless you already come with money, you will likely not make more money. C, the emotional feel of you giving and chilling with so many girls starts to kind of get to you. You're like, I don't feel myself because I'm moving shiesty, like smash. And dudes don't say this, like it gets to you.
Hey, I don't know why Vontae would say my name.
But this is just something. And then let's call it. This is just say you had the option, but the real thing that really was gonna be straight. You're supposed to date a little bit, find you a woman that you kind of go through struggles up and downs with as you're working towards something. You get solid. This will give your family more financial backing. It'll give you a little more structure. It'll give you a little more guidance on what to do. When you have a girlfriend in this situation, you might be like, it changes from I'm trying to find a girl to maybe I just wake up in the morning, I work out, save a little money, I might try to go and do something. Yeah. You become more positive because it's taken away a challenge. You now know water this plant rather than try to find hella soils to put a plant in. You get what I'm saying? And I think it's the same with anything in regards to what you want to do in life. Like with respectability politics, you have to do what you have to do to be successful, and you have to create rules that can work for the masses. If I was to tell everybody, do what you do, man, do what makes you happy, this is cool for the most intelligent, ambitious, and people who can read the room and interpret that information. They might be like, all right, I'm going to try to get a job, but I'll also balance in my family and work. I'll also work out a little bit. I'll keep a friend group. I'll try to kind of invest in a romantic relationship. They know what I mean by that. You tell a person who needs explicit information, hey, do what makes you happy. Bet. Nah, because I like traveling and having sex. So I'm going to try to do what I can do to travel. Girls too, like, bet. I want to just, I actually hate heartbreak. So instead of trying to invest in my shit, man, I might as well just keep it with a whole bunch of dudes and still get my heart broke. I'm like, all right, that's why people have, I'm like, I get it. Y'all not that smart. Somebody need to come give the rule. The way is, buckle down. It's time to buckle down.
No, bro, the way Cody say bet.
Because that's how they do it with confidence. They'll make you feel like, oh, this wrong. I'm like, even when and I always bring up the way we move in relationships like that. I'm telling you, I always crack this joke. I'm like, black dudes are the only people you know that it really be like, man, I just want to drop a baby. Like, I just want to have a baby. Like, no standing around. No. It's in our culture like that. That comes up as something that you truly consider. And I'm like, I'm telling you, I've never heard that from another. Even an African man, I've never heard that from young African dude. I just want to have a baby or a kid, man. I don't really care. I just want a little little boy.
That nigga said.
I'm like, what? Like,
that nigga said bet.
It's like it creates. You have to. Everybody, the group has to shame people into moving right.
Facts.
It's gotta be three. It's gotta be three dudes. That's the same idea on McKinsey. I'm like, hey yo, you a good man. Where we heading in life, the way we want to be as a group, you need a wife.
Yeah,
go get that. Go find that out. Like,
we're gonna bully you into what we think you need.
You got a certain amount of time where if you're not even trying, if you keep bringing random shorties to the cookouts around my kids, I'm like, yo, hey, can I holler at you behind me? I'm like, hey man, don't.
Hey, don't come back.
Son, sorry. You know what I'm saying? Like, you see what you're wearing? Because at one point, my son is going to start being like, hey, what's up, Uncle Kenzie? Like, I don't even want him seeing you. Like,
I can just see it now. Just a bunch of thick women.
Yeah, just random thick women. Like,
but I think
hey, they don't even know my son. They like, oh hey, what's your name?
They're like, I'm not gonna say who they referring to. It ain't me though. It ain't me though.
I believe respectability. How people fight it because they're like, oh, it make me feel wrong in a certain moment, but does it help? Like even when girls be like, oh, I don't like broke niggas. I'm like, I don't like that it's said so often, but it promotes for me to go to work.
Yeah,
it's kind of good for you to place that standard a little bit because it put when dudes have no standards, like I mean, she fine,
she thick.
Now you got 100 women, you got 1,000 or 100 millions of women that believe like shit. I can just rock how I rock. Somebody gotta say, oh, you can do whatever you want, but the good dudes ain't gonna cuff you after this.
You gotta understand the consequences are consequences.
Yeah, it's constant. Stand on it.
Right. Like, no matter whether you do something good or whether you do something bad, this is something my dean taught me. Like, consequences are consequences. No matter what you do, something's gonna happen, right? Like, if you choose not. People fat phobic now, but if you choose not to lose weight now, you might have some heart problems in the future.
Cody loves this.
Right? You might have some heart problems.
Cody really Future. Y'all remember when Future got in trouble for banning all of the fat people to come into his club, like his event?
That was wild.
He was wild, but it's a bold move. A lot of people want to make.
I don't think I would have did that, bro.
A lot of people want to be like, how much you think she weighed? Nah.
You got, but the thing about that,
he got a scale at the door. Nope.
The thing about that is, folks know it's a club. Like the entry is all mean and offensive.
That's a secret underlying. Like it's an unsaid rule for like clubs with high esteem. Like,
yeah, and like I'm like,
fine girls can get in.
Facts.
Girls are the only person that set a law to it.
Listen, girls will come and girls will go. I'm talking if the girls are fine, like we talking 9 to 10 girls, and we have to get into a whole discussion because girls cannot gauge they skill away.
Hey, this is Kevin Samuels for the pop out.
Yeah, my friend group bad.
Yeah,
oh, your friend with 4s and 5s.
This is 9s and 10s. They can literally walk out with like a 5 on them. And we're gonna chill tonight. We're gonna party tonight. Dudes can't do that. You got every man in the group. We talking about men, and I'm like, girls can't even put themselves in this perspective. Like, truly, like, if you don't have $100 to start the club night off, you really like, man, I feel bad. Like, I gotta be working to get better.
Really wasting
Girls
your
be
time.
Girls be going to the club.
No wallet.
No wallet.
They might be 19, no ID. They just walking
And
in.
they'll talk about our issues in life. I'm like, you don't understand. Like, I'm about to divert. This is a whole. But you don't understand. That has affected your confidence, your youthful experience to a certain degree that men will never feel.
I always say that,
Now, I
man.
don't like going out because I understand if I'm gonna go out and have a good time, I gotta drop three racks. I gotta drop $300 because, like, one, I'm only 5'9", so I'm not the tallest dude in the room. I'm decently attractive, right? So I can maneuver. But if you ain't got money, ain't no hoes gonna talk to you. You ain't getting no drinks, and you're not getting the booth.
It takes so much to do. It's not
fun.
And when we're comparing man to woman experience, like we just transition the whole thing. But we're comparing men and women. You have to factor in the level of suitors that comes to a girl from age 14 to 24. Now, I will admit it can dry up faster than ours. Like ours gets typically because dudes come into money later. Yeah. So the wins start coming later.
And the good men start to leave early. So if they're not, the pool starts to dwindle down.
The pool dwindles. Yeah. That's why I say, like, it's girls be trying to use our rule book for how to move. I'm like, it's a horrible rule book to play with ours because I'm like, men do winner takes all. You get what I'm saying? Like, it's 100 dudes, 20 dudes smashing 80 girls. Like, I got all y'all. You, and 25 to 50 dudes starve. You wait until your girls decides to stop messing with these dudes. Girls don't know that. It be big girls who don't have no jokes, girls who don't have no clothes, who be smashing the quarterback of a Division I program, be kicking it with rappers. I'm like, but just because dudes move different, because I kick it with you, you can suck my dick, like right. You kick it with a whole bunch of girls. Like when you put that proximity, I'm like, y'all don't hunt. That's half of your. You would be if you think you're depressed now because a dude won't stay with you. Imagine if you knew, hey, I can't even get sex. Like I gotta develop my game and compete with other women. Like imagine if girls was really hollering. Like it's really a couple of girls who's so fine who coming up to dudes like, yo, you look cool, man. Me and my shorties, we got a couple of drinks. After this, if you want to slide by, y'all can pull up. And niggas would be like, all right. Like, if it was really like that, girls would be, oh wow, like this is actually hard to compete. The girls don't compete. All they do is just pick from the guys who come holler at them. I'm like, because you don't want to hunt, there's a whole different rule book of things you have to do to make this life fun for you. Or it's gonna be different. If you trying to be a hoe who won't hunt, oh man, after age 25, I don't know your gameplay. Like, and everybody tries to have like, oh, it's gonna be fun. I'm like, I tell them all the time, no, it's not. It's not gonna be fun at all.
Because you have to practice that, right? You gotta practice how to hunt.
You have to practice it. You get it, Thomas. You get it,
bro. It takes a lot of adjustment because, like, I figured it out in high school. I'm like, all right, I know what I'm doing now. Yeah, you get to college and you're like, I gotta level up.
You gotta adjust it a little,
bro. Especially going to the HBCU, dude. Y'all knew how it was.
Right. I could imagine.
Y'all know how it was in high school.
So times 10.
Bro, it was so difficult.
That's how I feel about college.
That transition, boy.
High school was just bad because you think you got a girl like this. You on a basketball team, bro. Like, bro, I could just hit a new short. Who you hit? I loved her. Like, like what? It'll make you sick. Yeah. And in college, that's when money come into play. And the ugliest niggas with good bread is doing whatever they want.
Right.
They damn near running the school.
And that's something that a woman can't. That's different from our situation, and that's something that I think they sometimes don't comment on. Like your financial standing or how you do in school, how much money you make, is not going to boost you to the same degree as us.
Facts.
If I get to 6 figures, the doors are open.
Yeah, that's wild.
Options are wild. You get to 6 figures unless you are outwardly saying, I will pay for the dates. I got you, my boy. Dudes are still like, that's not my money. Because you're intimidated. I'm not going to pay for me. Like,
you got to have a strong-willed man to not be intimidated by that. Right?
And also that. But not even intimidated by the woman. You got to have a strong-willed man who can deal with the social group of the woman. Right. Can you deal with her playing in front of her friends, her mama, her daddy, who kind of looking like... They looking like he ain't touching the pocket, he ain't opening shit. Like, what is you with this man for? Like, it starts to get a pressure. And then on top of that, I say this, a lot of people don't factor this in. They always quick to say the man insecurities. Not all girls are built to be breadwinners. You're an abusive man when you make money.
Women
All you
are.
do is you just don't put hands on. There's a lot of most girls can't. They're if they were men, we would consider you abusive. They cannot pay for all the dates and all stuff and still be a good, nice woman. They like, hey, they got to pay for all this. You would. They're exactly the man that women don't like. They become that man because some girls you cannot mess with unless you have enough money to match or tie. She can't respect a man. So it's like for her to make $150,000. You've already put a bar that only lawyers and basketball players and scammers can impress you.
Yeah.
Even good men who you can make $85,000. You can't fuck with this woman because she does not have the personality to love and let a person
just
lead
cherish you.
unless he makes X amount of money. So I think that kind of comes back to what I be saying with when we had the conversation about marriage and degree. I'm like, it's different for women. Like I'd be lying to say I observed any. I haven't even in the professional world. I haven't observed the women who are the most happy and smiling every time they're coming to work. I start to peep. I'm like, oh, this is a married woman. The man is paying for her with the car be looking nice, the ice on the ring be looking, and she always smiling. Hey, how you doing?
Right.
The woman I see that's working, who got their own job, they on the phone stressed. Like you can tell. I told her she's supposed to get. She's stressing like a businessman. She don't seem happy. You know what I'm saying? Like, and this is just honest thing. And with respectability politics, it comes to when we're talking about women. I'm like, there used to be a rule that understood like you sacrificing some of your sex appeal, some of the nasty shit for a belief or a hope that you can get a better standing to get a better man, and then your family benefits from it. And nowadays, I think it's getting pushed that. They're delaying the time in which they want to commit, which I think is dangerous from a woman like that. If you gonna push it back, niggas gonna double push it back. Right. You gotta keep in mind, niggas was wild. 35. Yeah, niggas was wild since niggas been wild since Jesus and them. When it was under pressure, there's no technology, no clubs, and even back then, niggas was like, David was pointing out. Yeah. They like, shit, there's a lot of shorties out here in skirts. They like, look at these girls in these skirts. Like, so you thinking?
He said, Jesus, hey Noah, you going crazy on the argument.
You think in modern day world when dudes was already a little hesitant, if you have a generation of women say, shit, I don't want kids in no marriage anyway. Niggas like, oh, word? Okay. I was like, I like what she's saying. So you coming up like, y'all can't be like us. If you like us, you will ruin yourself. You know what I'm saying? Like, dudes will ruin themselves doing that anyway. but
I think that's dangerous because I'm speaking for women, speaking for black women at this point. Because like they're like, well, it's a double standard. Why I gotta be a certain type of way just to have a relationship? Why can't both of us come to these agreements to be
right? And my thing would be this: hey, when money is tight and both of y'all got $50, who do you want to put the majority of their money towards it? If you're the person that wants to put your last down, then y'all need to be even. If you like kind of looking and hoping that you with a man that put his last down, your ideas align more with traditional behavior. B, if there's some danger, are you protecting? Have you made the conscious decision that if there's ever some smoke, I'm fighting. I will die for my man.
Speaking of that,
if you don't have it.
If you topic come back up with that dude getting beat up at work at his girl's job.
Oh,
I finally watched it though. It was more evenly matched than I thought before, because I heard about it before I saw it. So
Bro pulled up to his lady's job and got
his beat up.
And so it's like
his body. I know you've seen that meme of him, somebody getting body slammed.
Oh, like you got hurt up. Okay, yeah.
Get slammed like they make that a meme like I would hate to see my man get beat up at work.
No. When you hear girls say that, when you hear girls say that, let me tell you, girls, what dudes are saying. Dudes are saying that I know not to put it on the line because as a man, man, I was chilling. Today was a good day. I just got a haircut. I got my meal. I got paid yesterday. I'm just chilling. I'm doing this off just strength of you. I pull up to fight for your honor, and you got me in my ass whooped. You didn't tell me this was not a guy I was supposed to be. Like
he also went against his
she's trying to
gave him out. Like she was trying to like pull him back and like they were like, yeah, bro.
But his face was already out there though, bro. He was already talking. At that point.
But he shoved her hard.
Let me get
to her. She's like, no, come on. He like, dang. And somebody was in the back, like, you pushing the brake on him like that?
And what was the reason why?
Man,
he got into it?
I didn't see.
We'll never find out. I don't know.
It be things like that. I'm like, there's struggles that come with this mind. Even when I said, I made this comment a couple of episodes ago. I'm like, it's what do you do when the family is down emotionally? Who is the person that should be our strong rock? I think for most women, they would hope that their man is. If you, as a woman's side, I will be that. Then you should take on equal responsibility. You can enjoy. Well, they don't. If everybody, we know. Look, man, Ren is doing on the 30th, blase. Everybody's stressed about it. The kids down. He ain't got lunch. There has to be somebody who's like, it's gonna be all right, baby. I'm gonna do what I can do. We figure it out. If you crying, you like, I'm straight. Like that's the reason why it has to be a little different. Why your rule book? Why because in actuality, what you enjoy, what you're sexually attracted to, what you like to see in men aligns with it. You have to carry yourself in a way to complement that. You can't buck on that. Like that'd be like us being like, we don't want bravery or we don't want to push bravery. You know what I'm saying? Like it has to be. That's what women have called us to be. But I'll go ahead and you said
no. I see what you're saying because you answered my question, so I appreciate that.
Right, but yeah, we're gonna go ahead and wrap this one up. It was a good time having one of our most intellectually stimulating conversations. It was a good.
I just want to also end like this is a really multifaceted dude. This dude was praising God in the morning and knocking helmets off.
Who's that FCA leader?
Tyler putting boys to sleep.
And he played baseball,
like,
bro.
Yeah, you can meet me in the Oklahoma drill, bro. That's a fact.
We can pray after this.
Yeah, I'll pray for you. But yeah, we want you to follow us on TikTok and Instagram and Twitter at PJunkies or Perspective Junkies, as well as on the YouTube page at Perspective Junkies Podcast. Appreciate everybody for tuning in. Appreciate the support.
I got a shout out to my nonprofit, the Tulsa Initiative. Follow us.
Okay.
Specializing in providing entrepreneurship resources for black and brown boys 18 to 24 years old. So check us out, man.
I love that, man.
First, and happy Juneteenth, man. Happy Juneteenth. Cody made us work this day. It is what it is.
Right, we ain't even getting time and a half. It's just
y'all boys thought y'all was getting off, but nigga.
And we're gonna end on that. Junkies.